But now it's time for a hot take of the day. My hot take of the day, if you didn't remember, Austin Ekeler is not a top 10 running back. He's not. He's not a top 10 back, and I have to explain why. He can't run between the tackles effectively. He's more of a pass catcher. And him not being able to run between tackles, you can really argue is the reason why they lost last game. I mean, against the Jaguars in the playoffs. If you go up 28, Josh, what are you supposed to do?
You got to run the ball. You got to chew the clock.
Yeah, you're supposed to run the ball. And if you don't mind me asking, do you know what the Jaguars ranked against the rush last year?
I would assume that they were bottom 5.
They weren't bottom 5, but last year they were 18th against the run, which would mean they were below average against the run, and you have a top 10 back. I was told a top 10 back. You're up 28. You have a top 10 back on your team. You're playing a team that's 18th against the rush. All you have to do is run the ball, get a bunch of first downs, and win the game. That's all you have to do. But no, in the combination with, local choker, Justin Herbert, Brandon Staley, who's a terrible coach, and then not having an actual running back on your team. This is what happens, right? I'm not going to say Austin Ekeler is not a running back. That's not right. But I will say he's not a top 10 back. He's not a top 10 back because if we're asking you to rush the football and take us home and you can't do it, then what is the point in having a running back if you can't ask the number one thing that we're asking to, if you're not good at the number one thing we need you to do? If you have a quarterback who's not good at passing the ball, but he can run it really well, then you're not a good quarterback because your number one job is to pass. You have to be at least good at that, at least average at that. You know what I'm saying? At least average at that to be a good quarterback. You can't be an elite rusher, but a bad passer and be a good quarterback. That's not how that works. So same thing with this. You can't be an elite pass catcher, but a bad rusher between the tackles and think you're a good rusher. You're not. He's good with the ball in space. He's good at catching the ball, and he can run routes in the goal line. Shout out to Austin Ekeler. But when it comes to being able to rush the ball between the tackles, he couldn't do anything. In that game versus the Jaguars, he had 35 yards on 13 attempts. It's not good. You needed a running back. If they have Saquon, they win that game. And I will perish on that hill. I will be all alone on that hill. I don't care if there's no one on that hill but me. They have Saquon, they win that game. You give them Isaiah Pacheco and they win that game. You heard it here first. Yes, you did. Give him Isaiah Pacheco. Now, I said he's not a top 10 back. So now you're probably thinking at home, well, if he's not a top 10 back, name 10 backs better. Don't mind if I do, right? Breece Hall, Nick Chubb, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Etienne. You cannot even say anything about Etienne. If you watch him, he's very clearly better than him. DeAndre Swift.
That's well.
Saquon Barkley. Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Aaron Jones. Jonathan Taylor. Josh Jacobs. Christian McCaffrey. And Kenneth Walker. All of them are better. All of them are better than him. And you know what's crazy though? A couple of those are a couple iffies. But I would say here are the definites that I've named. Nick Chubb is a definite, so that's one. Saquon definite, Kamara definite, Henry definite. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, and Aaron Jones are all definitely better than him. And you could throw in, because the thing is that I don't think he does any, like, what does he do? What does he do that Pacheco can't do? What does he do that Pacheco can't do? Pacheco is closer to Etienne. So it's like, if they're going to be in the same, Pacheco is closer to Etienne. So, I feel like that if they had Etienne, they win that. I just feel like if they had Etienne, they win that. And, that's just my opinion on that. But that's basically all we're going to have for you guys here on Winners and Losers. We'll be back next week for our 8th episode to talk about we're going to talk about whatever Thursday night football game is next week, and we're going to give our week 8 game predictions with another hot take of the day. My name is Curtis Wright Jr. I'm here with
Josh.
And we'll be back with you guys next week. I mean, I'm not sure if Josh will be here, but I'll be here next week. See you guys next time.